We should have somebody respond with a comment first.
Yes. Is anyone here? Did I lose you all? Oh, I'm so bad. I did that before. Oh, did I love you all? That's not what I meant to say. Oh, let's take a look here. Oh, we lost everyone.
Oh no.
Oh. And the thing about it is, I'm not exactly sure. Like they can just come back on. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think it starts over in that same video. That's the problem. Shite. Oh, Jacob! Thank you so much, Jacob. I shut it down accidentally. So hopefully other people will come back on as well. Looks like someone figured it out, so that's good. And what I'm going to do is so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put the message back in so people can see it. But
Yep.
let me send it to you too, Rick. So
Yeah,
maybe we can get everyone back.
give me a new link so I can.
Let me give you a new link. All righty, Jacob, thank you for coming back on. We're going to find more people. And then we'll get back at it. All righty. All righty. So I just reposted it. It is not cursed. We had one person who said it was cursed, but no, it's not cursed. And we're just
Look,
going to send one more email.
it died prematurely, so clearly we need to come back as animated. All right, like the rest of the stream should just be done in.
All right, Jacob said the same link worked, and then he left. Jacob, you back on? All right, we'll get it going. Jacob, you're the only one right now, so we're gonna wait. If there's two, we'll get going again. I'm not even gonna mess with it. Like I'm not gonna do anything fancy.
Yeah, I'm just replacing the links on my.
Alrighty. Let's see if we can get a few people here. Back on. We were doing pretty good. We had like 10 people.
Oh, that's the worst always. That's a good start.
Dagnabbit.
You know what it was? My theory and my crazy idea for a game at a convention was just simply too awesome. It broke the internet.
I gotta say, you gotta like now's the time to reveal all those secrets.
Right? You got 7 days left. Like, here's all the crazy ideas.
I know. Oh no, these poor people, they're still in the chat. Okay, there we go. Oh, they're still going in the chat. So I'm gonna say we're back on. Back on. Come and join. Hey, we got 7 people back. We're back, baby.
All right.
So can I just tell you, like, running an audio board is not my day job, and I'm pretty bad at
it. It's okay. Fingers, mouse buttons. Look, when the big shiny red button is sitting there next to your computer keyboard, you are going to press it. It is clearly what
I
we
gotta
do.
press it. Yes, unfortunately, I gotta press it. But Rick, all right. So I just want to know a little bit about you. You probably didn't start out as the horror master of RPGs. When is the first? time you actually played role playing games like that? Take me back.
So this actually probably explains a whole lot. I was in I bought the Advanced Dungeons and Dragons book, and a few other things, and I had read them, but I had
Uh,
never played them. The first time I ever got a chance to play a role playing game was a game called Wraith the Oblivion, after theater,
yes.
in high school. And so that is a game where you are already dead and you have to, like, resolve your traumas and work together. It's basically Crow, the RPG, with the serial numbers scrubbed off of it at times, especially for Risen. And that was the first RPG that I played, and then I fell into the vampire bit.
And my guess is you dressed up and really like you cosplayed it and did the whole LARPing,
Oh, I did the whole
and
thing.
you must have had a leather trench coat.
You know what? I have six. All right. I have no shame in this. Now I decorate my trench coats. Okay. They have all these crazy patches and pins on them. They're sort of like an icon of like what I do at cons.
Yeah.
My black leather ones don't see much use anymore, but they do exist. And so that is kind of the first RPGs I played, and then it was Deadlands was the next one, which
Yes.
Deadlands was very much the Wild West, horror. You're playing with poker cards and chips.
I remember it.
So I kind of came into RPGs from a completely different audience. It was very role play centric, character development. Death was always on the table. There was no coming back from anything in most of these games. And when I started writing, it wasn't in TTRPGs. I do a lot of by day I'm an electrician in Chicago, but I also did a lot of like late night concert lighting and urban exploration and haunted tours and bartending here. And my first book was actually a novel, and it was the Seventh Age series, which is about like demons and magic and occultism crashing back into today's world. I published that, and then I won an award for best post-apocalyptic novel on it. And that's when I started working with Geek and Sundry. And then it kind of fell down the rabbit hole of when they asked, do we have anybody else who knows other games beyond D&D? And I'm like, hi, I know every other game but D&D. And so I started writing on like the GM Tip series and doing blog posts and coverage of independent games. And so even more so, since my press beat was covering third party or independent studio games, there's a lot of fun horror games like Dread and Ten Candles and uh Cthulhu, and I just fell down that rabbit hole with like Cult of Divinity Lost. And I kept writing, and then I would start writing for those studios, and it just kept growing and snowballing until we did the Red Opera and the Black Ballad. And then I ran into you when you guys did the Crow, and I was like, please let me write on this project. And you guys were like, we don't know who you are. And I'm like, here's a photo of me when I was 17 years old in an entire manuscript. I have to be the guy.
Yeah, I actually believe you were like a cold call.
I
Like, I think
was.
you were like info@evilgeniusgames.com.
I
Dear, to whom it may concern.
Yes, I saw that you guys had the Crow RPG, and I was like, who is writing on this project? And I need to be attached to it. It was the first time I think I was like, no, I don't care. I have to work on this project. And obviously we did that. It went well. It came out well. And then
Five
uh,
stars on Amazon. I was just looking at today.
yeah, and in people even caught the Easter eggs that we hid in there of like actors' names and stuff like that, and
Oh,
like drive-through RPG reviews. I was, because like every author, you go and you read your own reviews, because you're like, I'm not supposed to look at these. You still go check them. Um,
feels unhealthy.
and then Universal Soldier with you guys, Return to Eden, and a few ego adventures with the Grand Craftsman Julius Artok III Esquire. Um, but um, after that, I still keep writing novels. My third novel in my Seventh Age series comes out later this year. We've done the Black Ballad, the Dark Carnival. I don't know. I've just I'm trying to catch up to Brian CP Steele. All right. That guy is a machine who's got millions upon millions of words on me. And it's like, no, I got to catch up.
I don't know. I actually think he's writing like 2 adventures a month for us, so it might be a little hard.
Yeah. Yeah. So Brian's a machine, though, but you got to have some goals to aspire to.
Indeed, indeed. Well, all right, that's very cool. Man, all right. So you covered a bunch of indie RPGs. What was your favorite? Like over the years, what was the one you were like, this is pretty cool? Like my job is a fun job.
Um, it's it's got to be 10 Candles. I talk about 10 Candles and Dread all of the time. And I know that they're not they're one shots for horror games, but when your schedule as an adult starts getting busier and busier and busier, the quick let's all get together, sit on down, play a crazy immersive experience and blow everybody's mind.
All right, for those of us who don't know what 10 Candles is,
Right. So 10
I know
Candles,
16 Candles.
it's
Not
not
10.
not actually 10. Uh and in 10 Candles, you're all going to die. Let's just put that out there. You play one game session by T candles, and you all
Oh,
record your character's hopes and dreams at the start on a mini tape recorder. I actually have one like lying around on my desk in case I have to do an impromptu one. And as the game plays, you're in total darkness, and the players also define the them. The them in quotation marks happens to be an unknown horrible entity that the players define. And as a storyteller, you have to put your improv skills to max because you don't go in with a plan. The
hmm.
players create the bad guys. You just set the scenario. And as the candles go out or the players fail on their rolls, you snuff out candles, and the room just keeps getting darker and darker and darker. And every time a candle goes out, the players get to say something that is true in the universe, which again tests your ST skills to the max. But when the last candle goes out, all light in the world is gone, and they have won, and the
Yeah,
players are no longer alive. And then in total darkness, you play the tape recorder and you listen to everybody's opening messages of hope and dreams from about 4 hours ago. And it's a haunting experience.
that's crazy.
So that is my favorite uh hands down, I think, horror game or tool to use. And I draw a lot on that from like always letting the storyteller touch on senses or having something to play with in a lot of my writing.
That gave me shivers. So for you, it really is about that storytelling, and it's really about really being able to tell that story and really getting all the players to tell their story to be able to have input in the world.
Yes, player agency is usually huge with me, uh, which is very difficult to sometimes structure in a you know 8,000, 30,000 word adventure because there's so many paths that players can take.
Hmm.
So it's all about like framing those decisions and choices for or alternative endings. Now, the storytelling part, I don't know. I love dice. I love crunch. I actually am that person that enjoyed leveling up and spending my experience, right? I know that there's we like the pure role play. I actually
Hmm.
like picking out powers on cheats and leveling up and having that progression. But I want to get to use them. I want to use them in fun ways that have consequences, good or bad. So,
Yeah, it's interesting because I come from more of that side. I love crunch. I love rules. Love Pathfinder. Just give me the numbers. And so I'm really down with all that stuff. In fact, that's the reason why I wanted to create Military Heroes, which we'll create eventually, which is a very tactical version of a role playing game. So units, maps, the whole nine. Uh,
it'd be curious to see what happens in the next 4 years. Which of the new game systems that are, rising to challenge the great dragon to see which one ends up, out there. But that's just speculation because we are here and now, and that is very far in the future.
hmm We shall see. We shall see which one dominates. But I got to say though that like what I love about storytelling, and I took some improv class or whatever, which is like if you get a really good yes ending going between you and the game master, and you tell a bit of your background, and you're vulnerable enough to tell that, and then it comes back later in the show,
Right.
in an episode, and it becomes meaningful. I think that's really interesting.
That's why I always love games that have storytelling and they cross it with a mechanical element that's usually a push and pull. Uh, in Deadlands, that I fell in love with back when it was the original Deadlands. You were playing a huckster. You got to cut a deal with all of the spirits and the devils in your cards. But every time you spend poker chips, right, the storyteller gets to pick them up for all of his bad guys
Yeah,
and cash them in for his stuff, right?
sure.
And
You get
whenever you
more
get
power.
to bleed flavor with mechanics and storytelling, I think that's when at least for me, you have the secret, you know, like this is a game I want to play.
Yeah. All right. So growing up, what was your favorite horror film?
My favorite horror film.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So there's two. One is I'm actually an arachnophobic. Legitimately, straight up, I am petrified of spiders. I believe that they should all be murdered with flamethrowers and nuked from orbit. They are aliens here to invade our Earth, and they do
Don't
not belong.
don't say you're going to say the famous John Goodman film,
Arachnophobia.
Arachnophobia.
Yes,
He was in
I
that film.
I am an arachnophobic that will go see the movie Arachnophobic because I like the feeling of being scared and I can at least know that they're there and I get straight up nightmares and like my breath gets shallow and I'll like walk out of there. And the worst part is I saw that they were remaking the film and I was like, I'm gonna go see that. Nobody wanted to go see it with me, and I went to
Wait,
go
wait.
see.
Did they already make it?
They already did. They already did.
And
And
it's not even showing up. It's not even showing. No, they did not. It's not even
they're
showing up on IMDb.
they showed they didn't come out with it. They had the movie
Oh,
posters, and I was like set to go see that movie by
wow.
myself if I needed to, right? But Arachnophobic was one of them, and the other one
John
is
Goodman played Delbert McClintock in that movie,
oh
along with
god,
Jeff Daniels, Stuart Pankin. Who else? Those are kind of the only ones. Wasn't it even like a Spielberg movie or something like that?
I
No,
don't know.
I'm making
I think it was I think it was the movie was probably meant to be a little bit more comedic, but to me it was absolutely terrifying.
it was PG-13.
Okay. And the other movie that is near and dear to my heart is The Exorcist.
Mm,
I am a sucker for demonic possession movies. Anything in the religious horror and whatnot, because I grew up Southside Chicago Irish
so not
Catholic.
Candyman?
Yeah, I love Candyman. Candyman is great. All right, but Exorcist was what started it all. And that was the first movie that I was never allowed to watch. So of course, I'm going to go watch it. Hello.
Yeah.
And it was terrifying. And I loved it. And that sparked me down the path of anything with demonic possession. The Exorcism of Emily Rose. I actually do like Candyman. Any of the Conjurings or, um, oh, geez, the ones with the kid, the Omens. I ate all of those up, and to this day, I still like, every October, I look forward to it. And then we also have February. That's another secret horror movie release season. So,
Okay. We got a question from the audience. Linka wants to know, do you have a favorite horror game?
Dead Space beat me. Dead Space straight up absolutely defeated me. It's the only game. Little Nightmares almost came close. I storytell to the soundtrack of Little Nightmares all of the time. It is a gorgeous soundtrack for running D&D games or any games that have a horror element to it. But Dead Space uniquely defeated me in that I was playing the game late at night and I was alone. And you in Dead Space, you walk out, you're in space already. It's kind of like Event Horizon, it has those elements to it. And there's this scene where you go out through the airlock to go to another chamber. and you see this beautiful solar system in front of you, and it's peaceful and it's quiet and all the sound and everything stops, and it's okay, that is just pretty. And you go into the next room, you fix the mechanic things that you got to do, and there's nobody in there. And then you turn around and you go back out through that airlock. But at some point, I turned around while I was in midair just to take a look at the solar system again. And sure enough, one of the monsters is like right there out in outer space. I
Jeez.
dropped the controller, turned off the TV, turned on all the lights in the house, like freaked out, like just powered down the PlayStation uh without even like saving any data, and I realized I had lost about 3 hours of game data, and I was like, I'm not going back to the game. Dead Space, you have won. You have defeated me.
Wow. You know what game defeated me? Uh, you're gonna laugh. Oh man, I can't remember the name of it anymore. But it's a good old font. I'm gonna have to look it up, guys. I'm gonna look up my Xbox account and find it. But yeah, I ran out of bullets, so I decided there's nothing else I could do. Too many zombies, not enough bullets. What am
Left
I
for
gonna do?
Dead?
Left for Dead 4. Yes. And I was like, all right. So like there's this one area you go into this thing and all of a sudden you do the wrong thing and like 100 zombies come at you. And the first time I attempted it, I wasted all my bullets thinking that would get it. I got close, but then when you respawn, you don't get your inventory back.
I mean, as you should. Why would you get your inventory back? I mean, come on,
From
death in video
starting
games is
over,
like the biggest hack ever.
because this is Baldur's Gate. Where I save every 5 minutes, every major decision, so I can see all the different
Okay,
interactions.
okay, fair, fair.
But no, I hear you. I hear you. And yeah, and I've never gotten past that one scene, unfortunately. Yeah, Left for Dead 4. Yeah. So all right. So this sounds like you're well versed in both. That's pretty cool. And so if there was going to be a remake, and let's say it's not Arachnophobia, of any horror film that you'd like to see again, what would that remake be, and who would star in it?
I am bad at the who would star on it
All right, I'll help you out
part.
with the who would star.
Um, let's see here.
My answer is
I,
always going to be Mirsha Ali, by the
you
way.
know what? I actually would be okay. I think at this point if they rebooted Nightmare on Elm Street.
Wait, they have, didn't they?
I don't. It's still
Like
going. I don't.
2001,
I don't know if there's ever been a we're going back to the original one, or if it's just
2015, Nightmare on Elmo Street. I think that might be wrong. 2010, they rebooted it.
they rebooted it. I don't know if was that actually a reboot? Because I think I
With,
saw it and I was like, I don't think it's.
With Rooney Mara. No one else that was good. Yeah, they rebooted it 2010.
Oh, okay.
It
Well,
didn't
I'm
do
gonna I'm
well.
gonna go with Grok Monkey here that it must not have done it proper justice.
It was 114 million in sales, so maybe it didn't make the money back.
Um,
Yeah, Jackie Earl Haley was, and I like Jackie Earl Haley actually, Sling Blade, but yeah, didn't do well.
mm, yeah, because I don't want them to remake. There's a
The
lot
good
of them I don't want them to remake The Exorcist, right? I
Yeah.
don't want them to remake Poltergeist. Um,
Mm,
you know, the others with Nicole Kidman, it still holds up and it doesn't need a remake. And that's the problem with good mental horror films. They still hold the test of time and are just as terrifying.
yeah. So speaking of like Return of the Living Dead, like that has a very specific place in time that I think is so important to sort of the storytelling of zombies.
Yes, and also, but Return of the Living Dead being sort of that comedic splatterpunk and
Yeah,
zombie style is very much, gravitated or right in that like late 80s, early 90s kind
it
of
felt right
amount.
for the time, didn't it?
Yeah, and so now remaking it, as long as they stick to that style, has the like nostalgia of, hey, let us show you what was cool about splatterpunk and this different type of zombie.
Yeah, it's interesting because I just was recently talking about that and just all the firsts that went on in that movie, right? I mean, zombies didn't eat brains before that movie.
Zombies, we will just okay. So one of the things that always got me confused, because I was very confused the first time I saw Return of the Living Dead, right?
Mm,
Because of course you see Night of the Living Dead, right?
yes,
And you're like, wait, I thought this was like they were nobody knew why they were reanimated or it was biblical. And so the first time I saw it, and then Tarman, and like the fact that people kept their faculties,
yes,
right,
that's the key.
uh was the I was like, what is going on with this? And then by the time I saw Return, I actually had like heard about all of the like, oh, there's different scripts and this is the different way that they wanted to go with it. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it now. But infinitely more fun and spawned an entirely different cult style based off of it. So I don't know. But I think that the zombies, I think the fact that you are a zombie, but you're just as smart as you were in life, and you're cannibalizing people to ease your pain.
Mm.
I think that that is a fun thing to explore in like a deeper universe dive. So
You know,
I think that could be played up more.
I think so. And the funny thing about it is remember that TV series iZombie?
Yes, I
That was
loved iZombie.
that was the
iZombie
premise.
was amazing.
Yeah, I think you need to come back and do an iZombie. Like you're all a bunch of like policemen in a half zombie world. I think you got to do that adventure, Rick.
Yeah, one totally. I mean, if you want, I will tell you what the adventure that I have, cooking is about. But that's only if you say you can go ahead and talk
Yeah,
about
why
the.
not? By the way,
Uh,
we love RPGs on here. Thank you very much,
no,
Amin.
uh,
Um, Exorcist 3, I agree.
yes, Exorcist 3 was good. But like none of them were remaking the original.
Mm,
But my adventure idea. So my adventure idea is that I had two pitches to the studio, and like usually happens when you're a writer and you go pitch and you get two different ideas or three different ideas, and they pick one. And the one that won was you are all playing old people in a retirement home called Almost Heaven. And all of you were scientists on the original Trioxin 245 projects in different ways back in the 1960s and 70s.
Wait, is this the one we picked?
Yes. Um, and you decide due to budget cuts or something happening with this retirement home, it's all getting turned down, and they're going to send post-mortem technicians in to basically flamethrower everybody in the home because everybody there is a zombie risk. Because in Return of the Living Dead, if you were ever exposed, you're gonna turn into a zombie when you die. And so all of the player characters are very smart heroes that decide, hey, wait a minute, we're going to go on one last ride and we're going to remind everybody about why they shouldn't mess with us. So you're all playing characters in your 70s and 80s who intentionally zombify themselves, and you lead a zombie outbreak so you can have one last ride to Tijuana and try to escape.
Cocoon.
Yeah, oh God, I didn't
Cocoon
even
2.
think about that. But yes, is Gladys a zombie or did she just lose her medication? Right. I want battles with faculty and walkers, at least one oxygen tank explosion, and you
and,
know,
and a good donkey show.
right, somebody's going down for cheating at bridge club, all right, because retirement homes can be just like high school. And But I wanted to have an adventure that was fun. It felt like it was doing the comedy line with that bit of splatterpunk horror,
Mm,
and I also didn't want to do the adventure where, hey, you're a bunch of military people or rave kids or things like that, and a zombie outbreak happens and you have to survive. How many players have have ever wanted to just be like, no, let's just be a group of zombies add a session for a one shot and see if we can lead a zombie revolution.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like We Be Goblins, right? Which is one of my favorite Pathfinder adventures, where everyone's a bunch of goblins.
Yep.
I'm envisioning old people zombie miniatures coming out in our future, Rick.
You should one with the you got to have the one with the walker. All right. I'm sorry. You know, like
Actually, you know what? I'm dialing my artist right now. We're gonna get the walkers, the old man walker zombie coming on soon.
I mean, first off, I think that this is just a great mini to have in general for a zombie game, right? Because not everybody who gets turned into a zombie is like, your average, like adult person, right? Kid zombies, old people zombies, like that's what makes zombies fun.
Yeah. Well, obviously you got the zombabies in the game, so that's
Oh,
always
yes, you do.
fun.
And you have the heads that chomp on people that are just all by themselves. And then you even have the post-mortem technicians that have their remote control zombies
Oh
as
yeah,
companions.
absolutely.
Like,
That'd be me. But so okay, so here's what we're gonna do, Rick. We are gonna do a stretch goal for a zombie old person in a walker as part of our next stretch goal. So you guys heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
done. This
I
is
think
how
it's
you
gonna be
pitch.
awesome, and I think that'd be a really amazing miniature. All right, I like that. I like that strategy. I think that's super cool. Old folks home. Let's see here. Wildpot says, went straight to Bubba Hotep.
Oh, yes. I of course I'm a fan of anything in with Bruce Campbell. So
Indeed. Yeah. I actually really liked Ash versus the Evil Dead. I thought that was a really good series.
the TV show was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Right, the series show. That was one of the few movies where summoning a demon actually felt like, or not movies, one of the few TV shows when they summoned the demon, like it was like, no, 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 this is terrifying. So I don't know. I like it when consequences get hit. So
Yes. Yes. Of course. All right. Well, that's fun. All right. So we're looking forward to some. Now, here's the thing: with Return of the Living Dead, we do have a pretty good extended license, and we also have the ability to do everything from the 1960s, which includes Night of the Living Dead because it's all open license,
mm,
all the way to the future, aka Jason X. What decade would you like to write a really good zombie adventure in?
hmm. I think I would like to do. I would go into the future, right? Because the other side of me that enjoys writing is very dystopian and cyberpunk, um, and I would totally do a thing with. Here are these like I would come up with some kind of like zombie bowl, like sports game, like dungeon crawl for the entertainment of the masses, each sponsored by a corporation, and like you know
Mm.
sort of like living versus dead in like a controlled environment. But of course, it always goes like, you know, at some point horribly wrong for that company, but another company is just going to pick it up and buy the rights to keep doing the thing. I I think I really like playing with mega corporations and that like dystopian like talk on you know society, and then add in the horror where the horror isn't necessarily the physical zombies, it's the just how far are you willing to go for a moment of fame.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And you take a look at the Trend Living Dead 3, for example, and it's very clear that the government was not going to let this chemical go. They were going to find a way to harness it. Be damned. So yeah, I mean, there's always someone out there who, if they can take advantage of it and make a little bit of money out of it, they will.
Yeah, and I mean, just God, it was like I know it's separate for you guys, but Universal Soldier, like getting to play around with what
Mm,
happened 30 years after.
Yeah.
You know, like exploring those kind of thoughts because Darrow Chemical is still going to want to play with that because eventually somebody's going to find a way to make trioxylin make you not completely rotted and brain dead, and then you start unlocking longevity and undeath.
Yeah. All the
uh,
billionaires that want to live forever,
right.
they're going to probably invest in that. Yeah. Running Man. Running Man is actually, they'll be remaking it. So Running Man with zombies. Why not?
Yeah.
It'd be
Yeah.
kind of fun.
um oh god, that just reminded me, just the Running Man thing was like, what was your favorite horror movie? And I'm like, do the books Brave New World in 1984 count?
So you like the dystopian stuff, the Gattaca,
Yes, I love Gattaca
Brazil.
actually. Love Brazil. So that's, yeah, I do a lot of it's either dystopian or occultism with
Okay.
me. One of the things that I really want to write someday is I want to write a modern day zombie apocalypse story that has nothing to do with chemical warfare. I feel like there is a absence of biblical or magical induced zombies in the zombie
Mm.
stories, right? It's always some chemical, some rabies, some, deterioration of the human condition. Um, and I
So
kind of want,
not science based.
yes, not science based. I kind of want to do like a magic, like this is an occult or a necromantic spell that has overtaken things.
Okay. I think that could be fun. I mean, I know you love your magic stuff. Maybe we can do that for Everyday Arcana when it comes out. Maybe.
Right. Yeah, I think for Everyday Arcana, there's probably a litany of ideas that can easily play with that too.
There's a
So,
few. There's a few.
just saying, modern magic, like, let's go.
All right. So we talked about some of your favorite movies, but if you were to make a movie into a cinematic source book, you wanted me to go out and make a phone call. What would it be?
Repo the Genetic Opera.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, Repo the Genetic Opera. It's a cult classic. It is, um, it's about the idea that people trade, they pay for all of their like genetic upgrades.
2008. It made $180,000.
Yeah, so it's a very small movie, but people who know it know it. And it's this whole like, you ever see the movie Repo Man?
Mm-hmm.
Repo Man. That would be another fun one, right? Or RoboCop, I guess, would be another one. RoboCop. There you go. That would be the one that was probably like, go get a license to do this because I would write on RoboCop in a heartbeat.
How would that be different than Universal Soldier?
Hello, one's in Detroit, and then you get to
Oh, there you
merge, like, um, RoboCop's got a whole different appeal to it, right? And Zydrate comes in a little glass vial. See, somebody knows. All right. So when you know about Zydrate, you know about Zydrate.
go.
But yeah, RoboCop would be another fun one. Because you also get to splice up the book with all these crazy, absurd ads.
Mm.
And do all of like the crazy like science, and even if it was the modern RoboCop, which actually was a fantastic reboot, that just never got one, like never had another one follow up with
Hmm.
it. Yeah, I think those ones would be there for older movies that I haven't seen
All right,
anything
so
with.
I gotta ask, Repo, the Genetic Opera, launched in 2008. Lionsgate, and we know Lionsgate. What would make this a good story? For those of you guys who don't know, I'm going to read the IMDb on it. A worldwide epidemic encourages a biotech company to launch an organ financing program similar in nature to a standard car loan. The repossession cause is a killer. All right.
So you can do it just one or two ways. Either you have the perfect biopunk RPG, right? Which there
Okay.
is not a lot of biopunk out there in terms of RPGs where you get to build, modify, and deal with these characters as like a street gang or grave robbers trying to get by in these, almost Judge Dredd-esque cities, and survive. And so it's got that cyberpunk
Okay.
uh, edge to it, but it's biopunk. And then you have the flip side, like you could have the repo men all be, horrific bad guys, or you could play repo men and play
Mhm.
with the morality cause as an RPG, right? Or you could basically do it as you're all designers, build your own company and get your brand to succeed, be the new heads of state,
Okay.
because the family is fallen. And there's always going to be like that infighting among different companies and, like the party. But I don't know, playing a biopunk RPG, we have Cyberpunk, we got Shadowrun. It's something that is different that I looked at and was like, you know, I don't really see a lot of biopunk out there, and it's got its own vibe and style to it. And it
So,
is
I,
compatible with other things.
all right. Yeah, I love that. I mean, so when we create new games, we try to adjust, like we try to think about what new mechanic can we introduce, right? So we're not doing three adventure cinematic adventures that all have the same mechanics. So for Universal Soldier, we brought in cybernetics. For Total Recall, we brought in mutants. So for this, you're talking about some sort of bioengineering
Yes, it's like you
mechanic.
you get these new your organs are real organs, and they're either stolen or harvested or like manufactured, like 3D printed organs.
Mm.
Like, eyes that can do special things, but they're still real eyes. And it's basically
Transhuman.
like the addiction of modding yourself, and then you have to inject yourself with this chemical called zydrate, which is basically just an over glorified painkiller that comes in a little glass vial, mind you. And that chemical, so the further down the line you go of biomodding, the more zydrate you have to get, but only one company makes zydrate. So
Mm, brilliant. You know what movie I would like to do is In Time with Justin Timberlake. Do you remember that movie?
no, I don't think I've ever seen that one.
Oh yeah, oh, please go see it. It's pretty cool. So basically, what ends up happening is that you stop aging at 25,
Okay.
and then your lifespan is your currency.
Oh, that sounds right up my alley.
So you earn lifespan by working, and you spend lifespan on like food and your apartment, things along those lines. But then, of course, there are the rich people like the bankers who have an infinite amount of lifespan. So they've lived for hundreds of years. So the richer you are, the longer your lifespan. The poorer you are, the shorter your lifespan.
I love it. It's available on YouTube and Amazon. It's going on my watch list already. I already got it pulled up in another window.
It's really good. I actually watched. I think I watched it recently, and I was like, "This is still a good movie." Um,
Um,
really enjoy it.
yeah, and then I mean, obviously, if there was another movie franchise, but it's too soon for an RPG, if I have them all packed up, but I have tattoos of Battle Angel Alita,
Oh yeah,
and that game is just perfectly suited for a role playing game. Uh,
100%. Yeah, I don't know why. Did they ever talk about making the second movie?
yeah, they did. They don't know if it's going to be a TV show or things, but I mean, they kind of got caught up in the 20th Century Fox getting bought by Disney or something like that.
Yeah.
But I officially was part of the Alita army. Like hashtag, like, come on, give us the sequel. It was so good for a manga live action adaptation.
But it
Um,
was not. It was not an adaptation though.
or it
It was
was.
original.
No, it was based off of the manga series.
There's no. I don't think so. I think Robert Rodriguez came up with it himself.
No, it was created by Yuki Koshiro. Yuki. I don't want to butcher the name.
Oh, Yukito Kishiro.
Yes, Yukito Kishiro. And Battle Angel Alita has been around for a really
Oh,
long time. There used to be an old 80s anime about it for an OAV that got
okay.
2 episodes. Um, James Cameron fell in love with it before he gave it to Rodriguez.
I see.
And it was out of like Ghost in the Shell, and a few other Dragon Ball Z Evolution, a few of the other live action adaptations of an anime property. Battle Angel Alita is like shot for shot from the manga,
Oh, it
and
is.
yes, they put Motorball up a little sooner rather than gladiatorial combat, but
Mhm.
everything was so true to the
Mm,
source material that like all of the fans went freaking nuts for it because they did a great job.
yeah, Linka agrees. I did not realize. I thought he came up with this on its own because I'm like, oh, this is a nice original concept. I guess Hollywood doesn't have any original ideas.
Everything starts from books these days.
Yeah, or video or comic books.
Yeah, they still count as books.
Yeah, yeah. I always thought Alita Battle Angel would do it. And, interestingly enough, just showing a little about how the sausage is being made. Everything in 20th Century Fox is frozen for licensing purposes because of all the acquisitions and stuff like that. So it's really tough to get a deal done, despite the fact that there's so much good stuff that's out there.
Yeah, that's the caveat.
What am I going to do? What am I going to do? All
Everyday
right.
arcade.
Do we have any
And
questions from the audience? We have questions. We'll answer them. Sorry, you were saying.
Everyday Arcana, Return of the Living Dead, other things that you have, in the hopper that
We
you
have
probably don't
so
want to
much.
talk about yet.
Man, we have so much to do. I mean, honestly.
I,
Uh,
I I feel the same. Even over at ST Forge,
yeah,
with us doing the longer form campaigns, uh, the, we got some kickers next year.
good, good. Yeah, so we're after this we're actually gonna be launching a board game based on Return of the Living Dead, and then shortly after we'll be heading on to Intergalactic Heroes, which is going to be our flagship project for the next year or so. So it's hard at work, Brian. That's what Brian's doing these days.
Yeah, yeah. I've 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 heard about it, and I've had some conversations with Brian, along with a few other people who I know are all very excited. And we just got it's the cycle of production. It takes a
Mm,
long time to make books, and it's a thing that is when you go out there and you talk about it a lot, you're like, guys, publishing is 18 to 24 months in most cases, and that starts the day the manuscript is finished.
mm, yeah, yeah. It's not fast, but we're gonna try to get it done. Right? We've got some really ambitious projects going on. We've got 20 new alien races that are coming out. We're building them all from scratch, which is very cool. And so yeah, we'll see what happens for sure.
Yeah, I next year for us, we get to do, because
Yeah.
primarily we're sort of the big difference, and for those of you who don't know, is our studio, Storytellers Forge, we focus on big long campaigns is kind of
Mm.
our cut and butter. um and so we get to actually work on and bring out the Red Opera once again and reforge it, and along with you know modern gods. We want to play with some urban fantasy and some deities.
Okay.
So we're gonna we're gonna try our hand at a game called Mythos, and try to do modern gods in a modern environment. So
I like it. Obviously Neil Gaiman's one of my favorite writers, and so American Gods is a great film, and probably would be a really great RPG world to play in.
it would be, except Neil Gaiman kind of jumped the shark of recent bits, and luckily, the creation of playing gods in an urban fantasy environment. You have China Miéville from King Rat. You have so many other urban fantasy authors that also play with that concept. King Rat, by the way, is a great book if you've never read it.
Hmm. Tell us about it.
So in King Rat, it's the idea that you take all of the urban legends from your childhood, from the Pied Piper, all of the different animals are like uh, anthropomorphic, like deities. Like King Rat is the king of all rats on Earth, and there's all of the other different animalistic gods from various
Mm,
cultures. And in the London Underground, most of them have been hunted and animals have been tamed. So the reason, yes, fables greater than American gods.
mm,
If you are The reason animals had become domesticated, Bast and like the cats and everybody like that, is because this hunter has been going around for centuries getting them, and you have all this terror and the personification of man as a hunter taking down
the god.
animals' wills and or the
Oh,
godly aspects of the animals. And the arch villain of the novel is the Pied Piper, and it's the most horrifying like
I like it.
take on the Pied Piper, but it's all urban fantasy, magic, London Underground type stuff.
All righty, Samus is asking you a question here. What's your next upcoming novel going to be about?
So my next novel is Seventh Age Decay, and it should be releasing at the end of this summer. And this one in cigarettes, misfits, and magic might be the only salvation for America. And one hell of a road trip as the Lord of Misfortune has come to America to enact Lazarus's plan of just killing every human. Long and short, basically, if my book series is about magic returns in like into this world, in book one, book two, magic returns, companies brand it. In book three, the Vatican gets involved. And so we finally get to see what's happening on the other side of the ocean as a bunch of punks go tour across North America to try to recruit urban legends to their side. And I promise you, they will visit the world's largest ball of twine. So
I love it. So, how long does it take you to typically create a book? I mean, we talked about the 1 to 2 year process for role playing games. Is it the same timeline for a novel?
it's the same timeline for a novel. It's a little bit less. And I mean, I can probably push a little faster. There was a time when I had a dream of, writing novels in a setting where you get to come back from the dead to avenge your love. But, sometimes things happen. The It takes about 2 to 3 months, right? I'll spend 1 month planning a book, and then I need about 2 to 3 months of just dedicated. I'm not doing conventions, I'm
Mm,
not working on anything else. And if I have those 2 to 3 months, I can crank out a first draft.
mm,
But then it goes from first draft to beta reading to developmental editing round one, developmental editing round two, copy editing round one, copy editing round two, proof edit, QA/QC, before a novel actually goes full publishing. And I'm really not a big fan of taking shortcuts on any of those steps. So it can take that still the same 12 to 18 months for a novel to go through all of those rounds.
mm,
What makes me probably a little bit slower as an author is that I straddle two completely different industries in terms of, am I writing on game books or am I writing a new novel, at this time? Because a novel is, anywhere from uh, now I'm getting up to around 150,000 words in my book series, right? Or 170,000 word novels. So that's two or three books sometimes combined into one, because as you go on in a book series you just have more to cover and it's
mm.
fun. I have music and soundtracks for everything and I just lose myself and it's a blast. And I have the same thing when I go and I get really invested into RPGs. For the past 2 weeks, I've been researching the most popular names for people born in the 1940s and 1930s for Return of the Living Dead. So when people want to name their zombie friends in the old folks' home, the storyteller's got a list of popular names.
It's,
Like
it's Gladys. That's where Gladys came from.
Gladys is one of them, but I got a whole little sidebar of like called Demolden names, and some fun unique names. So when you're get invested into a project and you start writing, um, that that takes a chunk. It's a little easier on the game writing side because you can there's so many other writers on Return of the Living Dead, right? I'm just one contributor that's a part of it, and so that workload can be shared. Novels, though, uh, it's kind of just you from beginning to end, and you can't even start that end process until you're done with your manuscript.
Wow. Impressive. I have not written any fiction. I've written nonfiction, but not a lot of fiction. So Rick Hines, you're an amazing human being.
Thank
Well,
you. I try. I infuse my veins with coffee, and that's actually the big secret.
so that is about our time. But I got to ask a question: where can people see you next? I know you do a lot of cons. So
So,
where can they find you next?
if anybody is going out to Kineticon, I will be a guest along with Keith D. Candidio, one of the authors of Supernatural and prolific writer who's written far more many novels and licensed fiction than me, but is also a massive nerd and fellow gamer. So come say hi to Keith at Kineticon. We'll be out there. And then after that, we'll be at Gen Con, of course, like most of us in this industry. And so we'll be at Gen Con, and then Anime Magic in August here in Chicago. And then Storytellers Forge is doing a really special event for MatSuriCon on Labor Day weekend. So if you're in Ohio, go by and say hi to the cast of Severed Threads and Storytellers Forge Studios that are putting on an entire special event there.
Sounds like you've got a very, very packed summer and fall.
Yes.
That's awesome. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have Rick Hines. You guys unlocked his adventure just a few days ago, really. And now he is hard to work at writing the adventure that you guys unlocked. So thank you very much, Rick, for volunteering to do that. I know people are going to love your adventure. And please join the Kickstarter. We only have 7 days to go. We want to break that 100K mark for sure. So thank you very much, Rick. Pleasure. And we'll see you at the cons.
We'll see you next time.